Greetings! My name is Ev, and today we'll be taking a look at a pretty neat art supplies subscription box. This is UPCRATE, a monthly subscription box featuring art supplies. A subscription costs €22 per month, or €64 for 3 months. It can be cancelled at any time, and shipping is free worldwide, which is pretty great. The materials included are always worth in the range of 27 to 40 euros, so a subscription is always a bargain, small or great. Let's take a look at what's in this specific box. Opening the box, we see a pack of 3 brushes, a wrapped bundle of supplies, a print featuring this box's artist, a folded UPCRATE poster, a sticker sheet, a magazine, and 3 sheets of watercolor paper. If we look more closely at the bundle, inside there is a pen, a mechanical pencil, a pipette, a natural sponge, and 6 tubes of acrylic gouache. Just a quick reminder, if you are not too familiar with acrylic gouache, it's basically matte acrylic paint. So it's exactly like acrylic, you cannot re-wet it, it dries to a plastic, but this one is matte instead of satiny or glossy. Right away, the magazine strikes me as something super unique about this specific subscription box. It's beautiful. It has a nice thickness and the paper is smooth, with beautiful color printing. In it, there is a surprising amount of info. There's a section about the supplies, an interview and walkthrough with the featured artist, and also more content from other artists featuring either these specific supplies or past boxes supplies. I read through it and it was very enjoyable. It was interesting to read about each of the supplies and why they were selected, and also to get a sense of why and how the artist uses these supplies, and also to get the point of view of other artists with different styles and different approaches. The more in-depth content about the featured artist was a really nice way to get more familiar with someone else's work and process, and it was really insightful as to using the supplies in this box. It's also worth noting that the magazine is in English and in German. Since the box came with 3 sheets of paper, I decided to make 3 paintings. Before getting into the paintings, though, I decided to do a couple of mixes and tests in a sketchbook. In addition to these tests, I painted swatches so that I could see the hue of the colors and just how opaque they are. As you can see on my swatches, I have a black stripe, and that's there to test out the opacity, so that I can see just how much of the paint is visible over the black stripe. In this case, I was a bit surprised as all the color are nicely opaque. From experience, colors like opera pink or yellow, they tend to be semi-transparent or a bit more transparent, but not in this case. These are really nicely opaque. And it's a great thing. That's what we want with these paints. The first painting I made was a direct follow-up of the tests I had made. This time, though, I laid down an uneven opera pink base layer to see what that would do. As acrylic paint dries permanent, I knew that painting over it wouldn't reactivate that initial layer. When the base layer was dry, I went on like I usually do and painted the flowers and greenery. Another thing that these paints allowed me to do in this case is to come back at the end and add little details and flowers on top of the paint. As I've said, the layers underneath don't reactivate, and the paint is opaque enough to be able to add light details over dark colors, which is not something you can do usually with watercolor. For the second painting, I wanted to paint something that would require a bit more control, so I drew a little tiger to paint. I used the provided mechanical pencil to draw, and it was really nice. It's pretty much the kind of performance one would expect from a mechanical pencil, but the very fine lead and the way it doesn't break off at the slightest pressure is quite awesome. Then I painted my drawing area by area. A great feature of the paint here is that if a color is not what I want, I just have to wait until it's dry and then I can cover it up with a new color. There's a few places where I went over a few times to get the right color palette. I am not super familiar with acrylics, so it was a bit hard to get the proper consistency and opacity at time, but that's on me. One thing that is not on me though, I think, is that the small brush doesn't keep a super fine point once it's loaded with paint. The tip sorts of fans out and it can be difficult to get small areas. I did my best. In the end, I came in with the gel pen for smaller details. With the last sheet of paper, I wanted to test out painting with the sponge. If you want to use natural sponges like this one, I would advise to wet it and handle it a bit under the water, like squish it and just poke it with your fingers gently. Why? Simply because mine lost a few small pieces here and there, and they stayed stuck in the paint. It adds texture, but might not be the intended effect. I made quick stencil with post-it notes and started sponging in paints, starting with the background, then the frog, then the garments. It's definitely not perfect, but it was fun to use the sponge this way. When the paint was dry, I used a gel pen for lines and details. And I gotta say, this pen works really well over the acrylic gouache. I was quite surprised. So, what do I think of this box? I have to be honest and say that this is one of the nicest art supplies subscription boxes I've seen. It really feels like something special. The strong focus on a monthly featured artist with an in-depth look into their craft and thoughts, it's awesome. The magazine, the print, the stickers, those are really unique. And the supplies are great. I will definitely keep on using these supplies and working with them. This box made me much more interested in matte acrylic paint than I was initially. I want to thank UPCRATE for sending me this box to try out and talk about. They also set up a special discount code for you guys if you want to check out this subscription box. I'll have all the info in the description below. So again, this was an excellent subscription box. I really enjoyed it. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Take care. Bye bye.